Hey folks, welcome to Digital Rockhounding, a guide to efficiently using online tools for researching your next great rockhounding location and documenting your research. There's no point in doing a bunch of research if you don't have it written down somewhere to look back at, right? This book and this accompanying video serve to help you get very comfortable using sites like Mindat.org, MacroStrat, and the USGS National Map's LiDAR information. And there's going to be other more regionalized tools for Pennsylvania. But in any reference I do, the national counterpart is a lot more powerful, and we go into that in slightly more detail. But I am a Pennsylvania-based rockhound in southeastern Pennsylvania, so most of my examples will be regional. That will not limit your ability to glean methodology from this video. We have shared all of these tools in my group, Pennsylvania's Rockhound Haven, but I did and have heard for many years from many of you that you found some of these sites difficult to use, and there is indeed a dramatic learning curve for all of these tools. And I hope today, while this will not be a comprehensive view of any of these sites, these will allow you to start using these tools effectively to develop locations for rockhounding. There is no definitive methodology that will automatically get you a working good site. You have to do your research and you have to put in your field time. I go into a lot more detail on philosophy and other matters in the book. The link to the book will be in the description of the video. It is free to download and to put to good use. I hope this video helps relay some of the basic principles of what we go into the book. Everything shown in the book will be shown in this video, but there are little words of wisdom and other things that you're only going to find in the actual text of the book. And listen, the good news is it's about 33 pages and most of it's pictures, so it's kind of a quick read. I'm not going to sell this video or book as entertainment in any way. It is educational. And you should have a hot beverage and some time on your hands to get this started. Everyone learns in a little bit of a different way. I figured providing both. The book actually started off as a script for this video, but it grew from what I was hoping would be about a 3-page document to a lot larger. But I think in the long run, it's going to be a wonderful benefit for the rockhounding community in general. So let's get into a bit of the nitty-gritty, and we'll walk through my process of documenting. While the majority of this book will deal with online resources, I cannot stress enough the value of physical books or physical media, or at least PDF copies of media. There's a number of good books locally, and I know these similar type books exist regionally from many locations, and I encourage you to do the research to find them. But I will briefly dive into a moment some of the local books that will benefit Pennsylvania and the Pennsylvania-Philadelphia regional rockhounds. The first set I want to dive into is a series of books by Ron Slotto. I hope I am not pronouncing that wrong, because Slotto is the only other reason and way I could imagine pronouncing it. These are the Mines and Minerals series. Ron's passion for mines and mining history in southeast Pennsylvania is unmatched. And there is details in these books about the history of mining, and it also contains a lot of location references. Let me address quickly at the end of this book and the video, I will go into how to research and how to get into requesting permission. That falls squarely on you. to figure out. There's nothing I can tell you. There's no blessing I can give you. You should always find out directly from property owners whether it is all right for you to be there. So let me get that little PSA out of the way and back into these great books. Some of these books are about 2 inches thick, full of great photos. I'd like to know where Ron got some of these touched up documents from, or if he did them himself, because I cannot find equivalently clean images anywhere online. And again, that's why you need to physically purchase book. I promise you, Ron has sunk in hundreds and hundreds of hours on top of him being a college professor into all this research, and I encourage you to purchase these books if you're in the region, and honestly, even if you're not in the region, these are an in-depth dive into the Pennsylvania and the southeast Pennsylvania mining history of these 5 counties. There is also a color I can't remember the word for the additional book right now off the top of my head, a follow-up that goes with the Chester County series that contains a number of color photographs as well. Outside of just history, these 3 books are excellent resources for locations where you can do some rock hounding. That is the Gem Trails of Pennsylvania and New Jersey. That one can be purchased. We have living authors still. Mineral and Gem Trails of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut. That one you can find online in PDF form. I believe it is out of copyright at this point. And Mr. Robert Beard, Rockhounding, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, he updated this last year. Robert's a great guy, and I'm happy to say I have met him, and I like to continuously support his efforts to support the rockhounding community. That's about all I'm going to go into on books, but again, like I said, books exist for your area, and you should look into those. A Google search will often turn up answers on things like that. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what we're doing here. The first thing you're going to need to do is set up a Gmail account. If you have one already, awesome. Step 1 is already complete. We will be making extensive use of Google Drive for documentation and Google Maps for noting locations we'd like to research further. I'm not going to go into how to set up a Gmail account. A quick web search will turn up the Gmail sign up page, and it's a pretty easy walkthrough. We are going to dive into how to get your Google Drive set up, and that is our starting point. So let's get that started. Now that you've got that shiny new Gmail account set up, you should be sitting here in a nice empty email homepage. If this is your pre-existing Gmail account, well, follow along, and it'll still all these instructions will apply to you as well. So let's move the cursor up to the upper right-hand corner. We're going to click on the 3x3 square of dots up here to the right-hand side, and we'll move down and left-click on Drive. That'll open a new browser window, which will land you into the Drive landing page. Over here in the left-hand corner, you'll see it'll have us on the home screen or home page. We want to click down into My Drive. You have a nice, brand new, empty Google Drive to start building in. At this point, move your mouse to the middle of the screen where there is nothing and right-click. You will see this menu open up, and we're going to start with New Folder. Now, this applies to you if you already have a pre-existing account. I would definitely suggest doing this because the next step is going to put a bunch of folders on your screen. It would be help if I spelled hounding correctly. We're not going to edit that out, just for laughs. So that's my Rockhounding folder. Let's click open that. That was a left double click, and you can see there's nothing in here. At the next step, I'm going to show you how to download a zip file, which is a compressed file holding empty folders for every county in Pennsylvania. If you do not live in Pennsylvania, you will be left with the exciting task of making that process on your own. Now, once you have done this for yourself and you have counties, folders for every county in your state, please be a wonderful person and share this with your other local rockhounds. It is a boring task. I know, I did it. But it is a nice little gift for everyone in the community if you can spare them this task. So we are going to now, I'm going to put a link in this video at the bottom that links to this zip file. For the sake of this video, I'm also going to show you how to pull this off of Facebook in my group, Pennsylvania's Rockhound Haven. There's a file section on most Facebook groups or pages like this that will allow you to post things. And one of the things I've posted on there in the file section is this zip file or compressed file with all these folders. So if you left click on the type, first it'll give you this, where it shows you the primary amount, which is a bunch of PDFs, which I have for the library at Pennsylvania's Rockhound Haven. If you click it again, it'll give you that archive here at the top. So what we're going to do is move the mouse cursor over to the 3-dot box over here, left click on that, and click download. All right, that has now downloaded. Next, I will show you how to extract that, and then we'll move it into your Google Drive. All right, now that that's downloaded, we're going to left-click on the download button in your browser. This will vary slightly depending on your operating system and what browser you're using. We are using Firefox, and I am on a PC. Let's click over here. There's a little folder icon. That will open up the folder with that zip file in it. Perfect. So we're going to right-click. You will have to have WinRAR or another file extraction program. Windows does have a basic one installed. If you need instructions on how to do that, it pretty much walks you through it. It'll say something like extract all, and that's what you'll do. Have it extract all to a single folder, though. You don't want all these laying about. So we will move down to extract Pennsylvania counties. That's correct. See, it opened up very nicely here. We'll click into there, double check that we've got all of the counties there, and we do. And then what we're going to do is drag this over to one side. You can see I've got my browser open in the background. We're going to click back over here into the Rockhounding Google Drive folder that we have. And then we are going to drag. All you have to do is get your File Explorer window over your browser window, and you can left click and drag it straight into the browser. It tells you at the bottom you're about to upload, and then just drop it, left click release, and it will automatically upload. And now you are done with the egregious task of getting this part of your organization started. All right, let's click in there, make sure everything moved along, and yeah, we will continue from here. All right, so for today's tutorial, we're going to be doing our research in Chester County. So we will mouse down to the Chester County folder, click into that, and we are going to right-click, and in that same drop-down box we found the new folder in, we're going to open up a Google Doc. The advantage, for those of you who know how the Google Suite works, to doing it from within the folder is that file will automatically save back to the folder. So you don't have to move the folder or the file you've created later. So let's do that. All right. Right now, for the sake of doing this in the order we would in real life, we know maybe where we want to start looking for a rockhounding spot, but we haven't narrowed down exactly where. So we're just going to call this New Chester County Research, and that's a good starting name for this. You will see up there, it's in the upper left hand corner, all you have to do is click down and it will allow you to change the file name. It is a continuous updating in the background in terms of saving it back to the cloud. You may ask yourself, why am we using Gmail to do this in a Google account? Well, it's free. I go into a lot more detail as to the whys in the book. Once again, you are encouraged to read that after watching the video. It is going to be the faster reference for you as we move along and go into a lot more detail on some of these sites. The other reason I like using a very simple hosted program like that, A, it is free, and you can download all of this work into offline files. It's very simple. All it involves is you going back into your Google Drive, onto that Rockhounding folder, right-clicking on it. I'll show you that right now. And what you'll do is, once you're back in your Rockhounding folder, all you need to do to back this up offline to your computer is right-click and left-click on download. You can do this same function, offline backup on your mobile device as well, so that if you're out in the field, you can have this data with you even without cell service. So that is why we use Gmail. There's not another service out there that performs this same function without a fee attached to it. And with the 15 gigs of storage you are going to get on Gmail for free, it is a unbeatable value with the ability to do offline backup for long-term storage. We like to think of the internet as a continuous thing, but very few things beat a nice paper copy. It is future-proof as long as it survives. Digital data is subject to degradation in its own way. So let's move forward. We have that set up, that first document, and yeah, we're going to pop over to Google Maps now. All right, I need to sign in real quick and we will get into, oh, that was quick. All right, so we are going, if you've somehow ended up back either in your Drive or in your Gmail proper, you can go back to the 3x3 icon in the upper right-hand corner and click on that very familiar Maps icon. It is at that point where you will see you've got very little going on here. So move up to the upper left-hand corner, click on the menu, and we're going to ask it to always have the sidebar turned on from here on out. It does not necessarily listen well. All right, we're going to keep going from here. All right, we have the sidebar open now, and the point of interest for us in this lecture is the saved function over here on the left-hand side at the top of the list. Let's left-click on that, and that will open up this list window. These are all ones that come preloaded with your Drive. What we're going to do is make a new list. I would take the time, if you have it, to go ahead and do this for all the counties, but for the purpose of this video, we're just going to do our Chester County one. You have the option here to change to add a list description, and as we go through this, you will see that this will populate down here with the spots we save. All right, for right now, we can click out of this. We can make sure it shows up in saved now. There it is, Chester County. And yeah, if you need to edit it later, that pops up with a left click on the 3-bar menu to the right. All right, our next step is going to be showing you how to save a bunch of tabs you have open in the browser. Up here, I have the set I have saved for this tutorial. Rather than me having to type in all these web addresses again, I can save these all to a folder, and I want to show you guys how to do this as well, as it is very helpful during research to be able to not have to open up 10 browser windows or whatever amount you've opened up fresh every time you want to get back into a research session. It is very rare you're going to be able to finish a complex bit of research all in one sitting. So this will help. All right, see the plus symbol up here? Let us right-click on the plus symbol, and we're going to see that drop-down box. And there's a great function here called Select All Tabs. All right, you're going to see I already have this saved. But if we click again on that plus sign, you will see bookmark selected tabs. This will open up a window, and we're going to change this to New Chester County Research. You will need to develop a naming structure. You can't keep calling everything new. So again, we're going to change these as our research continues. Once we identify an area or a starting mine to research, it very much behooves you to keep your stuff updated so you can search for it later. All right, so we also need to tell it where to save it to. We will have it saved to other bookmarks and click the Save button. Now that that's done, let's show you how to reopen these. We're going to go up here to the upper right-hand corner. We'll see the three lines button here. We're going to left-click on that. We'll go down to Bookmarks, go down to the bottom of that menu to Manage Bookmarks. I'm going to drag that window back over here. And you can see down here, this is the folder I opened up when I started the video. This is my tutorial folder, but if you click over here, look, there's all the sites I have open in the browser, saved in that one folder. And oh, you could single click and open all these, but that's a waste of time. So what we're going to do is use the keyboard, hit Control A. That will select all of the items in that folder. Now we're going to right click and do Open All Bookmarks. And that will get us to right back to where we left off our research the last time. It's a really handy little tool to be able to use. It's a little less work you have to do, and it's a great way to keep things nicely organized. All right, folks, let's dive into the treasure trove of information that is Mindat.org. I will add a link in the description of this video to Mindat.org. It is just www.mindat.org. It can be found through a Google search as well. There is so much that can be gone into in this video that it would take a solid hour, but we're going to try to expedite the process for you a little bit. Let's click over onto the search function, type in Chester County, Pennsylvania. There it is, pops up already. And we're going to hit enter and get our search going. It is running very quickly today. That is not always the case. Up here is not where we're starting. We are going to roll down here to localities matching Chester County, Pennsylvania, USA. Here are some well-known mines from that area, but we want the county page itself right here. Let's click on that. All right, this brings us to the landing page. This landing page is similar to that for the mines specifically as well, but let's dive further in to using this page as a starting point for your rockhounding research. All right, now that we're on that landing page, I like to interact with this map at the top in full screen. So we're going to click on the broken line box here on the left-hand side of the map, and that will give us a nice full screen view. And you can see it shows you gently the counties that touch that county, Chester County, and these indicators are where there are points of interest. I go into a lot more detail, but this uses in the book, but I'm just using the scroll wheel on the mouse for the time being. So you can scroll in and out, and this is all the noted locations in the area. Under the presumption that we're searching for an area, because many times the question asks is, well, what specific mineral can I find where I live? With Pennsylvania especially, that is quite a complex question. And through this tutorial, it will show you the tools to kind of answer that question of where do I find X mineral in my area. Let's say, for the sake of this tutorial, we are looking in this area. We're going to left click on this icon. Now you see some numbers here, and what that is going to show you that in this thing, there are two, in this area, there are two very close together references, and that's what the numbers mean. Let's scroll back out, and we are going to grab this one right here. This is General Trimble's mine. when you left click on this is the first thing it brings up. It gives you a preview picture if one exists, and then the text up here you can click on. There's a brief description of what's in this picture, as well as who took the picture. This is give a site, and it gives a brief description there. We are going to go ahead and left click on the General Trimble's mine up here, and that is going to bring us back to the very familiar site of that page. But this is now the same sort of setup, but just for the specific mine. So we can see here, these are other minerals that were found at this location. And there's other valuable information throughout here, which we will dive into. All right, we're going to scroll down on the General Trimble's page until just below the specimen photos. Here, you're going to see the data start to appear. Here is the longitude and latitude in decimal form. You can left click on this, but first thing we're going to do is we're going to left click and drag and copy this longitude and latitude. You can also use Control-C for copy, and we're going to pop back to our new Chester County research document, and then we're going to paste that information. Let's see, Control-V, and that'll dump our longitude and latitude data right in there. So now that we have a location, this is General Trimble's mine. And we're also going to change up here. That's just left click into the name up here and just change it to General Trimble's mine. Tribbles, the trouble with Trimbles. All right, General Trimble's mine. Now we have that documented, so we know right where that is. Let's go back to Mindat. All right, now that we've saved that information to our Google Doc, we can come back on the page, and then we're going to left click on the longitude and latitude link here, which is going to open up Google Maps. And this all comes back around to why we created that Chester County folder. So real quick, we can see here that the pin drops us in the middle of a pond. Now, for those of you who don't have the knowledge, let's share that with the folks. Generally, I'm going to say 90% of the time, if that pin drop off of Mindat falls right over a pond-looking area like that, or a water feature, that is the old mine pit, 90% of the time. So that's a little something to tuck in your head right away, just if that's something you're not aware of. Most of the time, okay, maybe the number's a little wrong. We'll say 70% of the time, that's what that pond is. A lot of times, they will fill in the old mines and build over them. If your pin drops in the middle of a development, like we see off to the left here, that is what happened. But that is also why you see in the news, recently especially, a lot of old mine collapses, because what happens is if they don't fill these pits correctly over time, and water saturation will wash away whatever backfill they put in there. There's proper ways to put backfill in a mine. But this is just something to add to your mental arsenal. And why even in this entire video is dedicated to how to use this starting information. While you cannot probably get legally on the property where the old mine is, we're going to go into how to use finding an area where we knew certain minerals existed and learning how to check the area around it for places they may be exposed. You're going to want to add a label to this, because right now it's just your longitude and latitude. So we're going to go over here on the left-hand side, click Add a Label. Let's add in General Trimble's mine. We're going to hit Enter because there's no save function. And we can now see this comes up as General Trimble's mine. Now, we need to save this. And we're going to save it by left-clicking into Saved and clicking on Chester County. Now it's in our Chester County list. And now we have that reference. Very helpful. All right, now that we've got our search origin spot backed up in our Google Docs and saved on Google Maps, let's click back into the Mindat tab and dive further in to the data that's available. So let's say you live in this area. You can already get a nice hint here of some of the minerals that were found in this mine. Let's scroll down to the minerals list. All right, a lot to go on here. You can see the commodities list. This is a listing of, if this was a commercial mine, essentially why that mine was started. There's a couple of tabs below that. The ones we're going to go into up here, under the standard, we're going to go into detailed and we're going to go into gallery. Those are these three tabs. The first three are the ones you're going to use primarily. Right. So we see here, and there's a lot here that I think a lot of people don't realize. Right here is an icon that says I. It says Gibbsite. So if we click on there, here's what it brings up. This is Gibbsite from General Trimble's mine. So that automatically takes you. Now, earlier when we were talking about books, this is what I was talking about. There's the bibliographies here. Now, the first reference here is Samuel Gordon's Mineralogy of Pennsylvania. This was published in 1922. This is a foundation document for the region. But there are many other publications listed here where these things are referenced, where this mine is referenced. So that is invaluable. If you click on the photo, it will just take you to the photos. So those little icons are very helpful. Let's dive into detailed. Detailed will give you the reference for the particular minerals and the particular books they were referenced in throughout. This is a somewhat redundant function, but depending on how you like your research and how your flow ends up. If you just want to go for pictures, the gallery option is a great option for just kind of going through historically what was found there. You can see there's some classic wavelight. This wavelight is essentially colorless with a slight almond tinge to it. Nothing like the stuff we see from up in Snyder County or from down in Arkansas. Our local wavelight tends to be, from the Snyder County location, tends to be yellow. I have one piece that's a little green, but nothing like the green you see from down, I think it's Arkansas. But that is the basic layout of this page. I would also suggest taking this Mindat page, copying the address, and throwing that in your document as well. This way you've got it for quick reference. If you notice when you cut and paste it in, it doesn't automatically go to a link. Just hit enter, and then when you go down to the next page, it will turn it into a functional clickable link. All right, let's dive a little further into using the counties page. So as we pop back over to the General Trimble's page on Mindat, this is your starting point. You can do this for any area using that original map we used, the one for Chester County. You can look at Chester County or the county you're in and see what is around. So now we've shown you how to use the county map to select a specific area with a mine near it and how to explore that. In the next section, we're going to use what I showed you down here to do the same thing, but we're going to look at the minerals by county. So this section helps you say, oh, I need to look in this county, the county I live in or the county I'm searching in, and I'm wondering what's in this particular area. That's how you use Mindat for that. Now we're going to bop over to just Chester County, where we were before, but now let's scroll down past the map, past the pictures, to this. This is how you see every documented mineral for the county you're looking at. this is invaluable. And using those same functions I showed you a moment ago, let me find something on here that I know is very common. Let's grab my old favorite, Goethite or Goethite, depending on how you pronounce it, which appears all over the region. So let's do it by photo first. All right, there's a basic photo of what limonite looks like in the county. There's the one reference photo, but let's go back and click on the information. These are all of the mines where we know goethite shows up. Now let's go back and pick something that might be a little more populated. Oh, let's see. What's popular? What does everyone love? Oh, quartz. Oh, gosh. Everybody loves quartz, right? Let's click on that eye icon again. And these are all the spots in Chester County where quartz has been found. All different kinds of quartz. Down here is a list of all of those mines. So now you can start going back and picking these locations, and we're going to dive into how to use additional tools to take the location information. And again, like I said earlier, the location may not be directly accessible, but we will go into how to use your digital data to get yourself good and prepped to go search these areas. And this will help increase your odds of being successful in your hunt. At the bottom of the county page is a list of all the known mines in the county you have selected. So that is an invaluable resource and another way of looking at the data. Now, if you were to get to this point and you were picking out a new spot this way, you'd re-enter your label for that new location and add it to your saved list. Right quick before we move over fully into Google Maps, I'm going to point out again how almost every one of these pages has a references section. Here's the one back for General Trimble's mine. This is every place it's mentioned. And if you look here, you'll see a little Adobe Acrobat button there. If you click that, it will take you to the document if they've got it stored somewhere. In this case, it's on archive.org. And you can download that straight to your computer. This is a wonderful thing and a good thing to support if you can donate to causes like the Internet Archive. Let's get back over to Google Maps, though. But I'm a collector of ephemera, so books are very important to me. All right, let's get into the different views in Google Maps. All right, so we're here on Google Maps, and we are seeing our pin for the General Trimble's mine floating over that ore pit pond. So let's, as much as this is great data for location, it's not telling us much beyond that we can see a development over here. So we're going to move the mouse down to here to the lower left-hand corners to the icon box. Let's mouse over that. I don't have to click necessarily. And you'll see a bunch of options there, including satellite, terrain, traffic, transit, etc. The two we are interested in today are satellite and terrain. So we're going to left-click into satellite, which reveals, and with a little bit of a scroll wheel zoom in, that this property appears to have a fence around it and is developed. So we are not getting access to this location, but we are still curious about the minerals around here. Let's dive a little deeper. Let's bounce back to the terrain view, because what this will give us with some zooming out is a view at how the land lays out. Up here, you can see these dark spots. This is a higher elevation coming down to lower elevations. You will learn to spend a lot of time looking at maps. You can see up here, it is listed as a 600-foot elevation, and down here as a 400-foot elevation. All right, now our pin is down here at the bottom. When I am looking at a map like this, I am looking for road cuts. I am looking for water features like streams and rivers and steep drops. We will go into various ways of getting data that will indicate those sort of locations to you. But in here, we can see our water features really well. We can see to the north, this should be northeast, we have the Valley Creek. And down here, we have a park with playing fields and some water activity there. There are some very interesting water features down here as well. So we know we've got some interesting features that may provide locations that would present minerals. I will beat this subject to death during this tutorial, but every trip out, especially when scouting, is not going to turn up information or turn up material. It will always provide you with information, though. For beginning to look around these areas, I suggest once you can always click a different spot on the map, and that will hold while you switch layers. So while it doesn't present itself very well on this map, if we switch back to terrain, we know there's a height change within those woods over there. So we're going to switch back and take a peek. Now, at this point, if I were to be searching this area over here is one of them I'd be spending a little time in. Not nearly as much time as I would be planning to spend on this creek over here. Let's mouse over there. We will just click down and switch to satellite view. We can see that this is in some woods. The creek is there. We can't, in this view at least, tell how deep that creek is. It could be a very surface level creek. And the terrain map seems to show that. I don't see any dark colors around the edges of this creek. We also have everything down here. Now, as you're going through, you're going to find points of interest. That's when you click the point of interest. Now, for me, I see this right here. It is a steep drop. This will create like a gullyway that when it rains, natural gravity will take that water down through there. So I would mark this as an area to check. Now, you're going to want to check, I would start at the bottom because that's where you're going to see any runoff. That's where anything that's up in those mountains is going to wash out to. That's where you're going to find your ground scores. So when you click on there, it'll open up this box at the bottom with another longitude and latitude listing in it. We're going to click on that. And now it dropped the pin there, and we've got another entry. So we're going to add another label here. We'll call this General Trimble's Hillside. And that, when I would go to the location, I will use that to find that location because it may not be clear through the woods exactly where that is. And I would continue to add check spots. So look here, we'll bop back over to satellite view. Let's find the creek. There's the creek right there. Looks like we've got a park there. This would be an easy spot to walk in and just check this creek. So I'd mark that on the map as well. It's a little easier to see in this view. So we'll click there. That will pop up. And we'll change this one to General Trimble's Creek. And this is how you start to build your lists of where to check. So we'll call that creek. I picked the General Trimble's mine because it's not there's not a lot of super, what's the word I'm looking for? Desirable minerals there. I don't want any particular spot getting overwhelmed, so I picked one that that doesn't hold much in the way of interest. So let's get back to our save. Let's take a look at what we've got saved. And oh no, we did a tragic mistake. Hang on. Well, that's all right that I forgot. It's good to show you guys how to fix something like that. So I've, of course, just realized that the general Trimble's adjacent spots we were going to check, I forgot to mark into the saved folders I had made in Chester County. So we'll just go back and we'll go to labeled, which are the two I labeled, the hillside, the mine, and I stopped myself before we did the creek. And so I can just click on here, and then I can click saved and move it to the Chester County folder. So let's go back over to the creek. I believe the creek was over here. We'll switch back to terrain. We'll find the creek again. Now later we'll dive into how to take a little closer look at that creek. But for right now, this looks like an easily accessible area. So we will put a pin there, left click. I don't know why it didn't take that first time, but we'll click on the launch lat here at the bottom. That'll bring up the location. Let's put a label on it, as we were going to before. General Trimble's Creek. Hit enter. And now we'll move it into the Chester County list. All right, so now we've got two locations to further dive into as we move on to the other tools in our pocket that we've got. All right, so we've got our locations nailed down and saved to our Chester County list for reference later, and we're going to need this later. The first tool we're going to dive into outside of the very familiar Google suite is PAGeode. That is, I will put the link to this as well as everything else in the book and in the comments here on YouTube. This is the page that'll pop up. Okay, well, I wasn't necessarily going to address this in the video, but it is addressed in the book. Sometimes these pages don't exactly run real well. There's various reasons why. We're not going to bother going into it, but I don't think that's a big deal for us. So for right now, let's hit close on this welcome. Don't show it to me again. And you can see the great state of Pennsylvania right there. Now, in a couple of minutes, we will dive into the page known as MacroStrat.org. That works on a larger level than this, but contains similar information. But I want to dive into this one because for locals, this is a very good starting point. All right, let's zoom in a little here. We have to enter our address in a way that PAGeode can manage. So let's do that. All right. And I think for this one, we are going back to Google Maps, and we will take the longitude and latitude. For this one, we'll do the mine. Give me a second. Sorry, Google just froze. You can see the old spinny circle there. I'm going to try to bounce around this. Bear with. Fun. All right, so we're just going to bounce back into Mindat. We will take that data from over here. We will copy the data, and we will bounce back over to PAGeode into the search function, paste that in there, and hit go. All right, this is looking familiar again, right? All right, but we've lost our geological data. Let's zoom out. There we are. All right. The other reason I picked General Trimble's is because there's a lot going on around here. You can see on that little blue marker, that's where we are. This is one geological formation here. This is the Ledger Formation. And right next to it is the Antietam and Harper's Formation. For us, that I'm trying to show is there is so little distance difference there. It is important to know the minerals, the geological formations that you're working around, because moving in a sometimes very small direction in another way will take you out of the section for the minerals you're looking for. And PAGeode is a very easy way of seeing that. If you click on the different colors, it will change and the information displayed on the right-hand side. Very nearby is the fairly famous Chickies Formation. There is a ton of data here in the description to allow you to fully understand what it is you're looking at. Your education on that is not really covered in this video, but we're showing you all of the other information that just goes along with this. But for the purpose of selecting your site, this will help you narrow down whether the area you're looking in and how far in any direction is the same geological formations that produce the mineral you're looking for. Let's move up to the upper right-hand corner where we can switch our imagery looks. For right now, let's just bounce back over to a satellite view, which will let it repopulate. And nicely, this overlays it underneath the data for the formations we're on. So let's re-enter, literally click back in here and hit enter again, and we can see our dot again. We're going to zoom out, staying centered on there by leaving the mouse hovered over the dot until we see the geological data again. So now we know when we zoom back in, and we can put this in our notes, whether those locations we picked out on Google Maps are even in the same geological formation. Some will be, some won't be, but you have to double check that data. This all just requires time. So what we're going to do, and I'm not going to go into deep dives of this, but we'll zoom back in and we'll click back over to our map over here, and we can trace Old Valley Road, and right above the intersection of, what is it, Old Valley and what looks like Church Farm, and then we'll bounce back over to PAGeode. Let's zoom back in. All right, there's that intersection. And you can actually see pretty good in the imagery that dent there. So let's click over here. So you can hold that red dot and we'll zoom out. Now we are just on the border of that Chickies Formation. So that's still a good viable search area. But not much further up that hill, probably at the top of that hill, is Chickies Formation, and your minerals will change in that formation. So yeah, go through all the sites you've picked and compare them against that data in PAGeode. Another bit of helpful functionality in PAGeode is if you go down to the layers section, you click on the right-facing arrow, which will then turn down, you will see that bedrock geology if you open that one up, will show you geological units, which is what we're looking at here in color. And down here in opacity, you can lessen that. So if you're trying to see, and it's a little harder from at the distance, because if you zoom in any further, that data goes away. So you have to stay zoomed back, so you'll have to squint a little more. It can be kind of helpful just to have it a little lower. Actually, yeah, it's just a very helpful thing to have when you're trying to get a better picture on things. All right, so we've gathered a bunch of new information. We can go ahead and do a nice, easy cut and paste here by left-clicking and dragging, and we can highlight that information, copy it, and we can move it back over to our General Trimble's mine information. At this point, we have identified some possibility of that hillside location. So let's go into Google Maps. We've identified that this location has a lot of possibility. Let's back up real quick here, make sure we're in this the right way. That's that one. We want that one. There it is, the General Trimble's hillside. So when that pops up, you can left click. It's nice that Google's playing now. Left click, drag, and highlight that text. We know this is viable. We know it's on the border, but still in the same general geological formation. Let's copy and paste that in. All right, and then we'll just cut and paste. We'll paste that data in as Control V. And there's the information for General Trimble's hillside. You will notice that as you cut and paste things, the fonts all change and all of that. You can just change this up here to normal text and then set your font size to something reasonable. And it will help normalize things. You can go through and clean things up by just, taking certain letters out or certain spaces out and things like that. But we've got General Trimble's hillside listed here. Yeah, we've got that Mindat thing listed twice in there, but we can clean all that up as we go along. All right, so we are at the point where that is about the extent of the functionality on PAGeode. We will move on to MacroStrat next. As we move into MacroStrat, we will directly see that this is why these sites have a learning curve and why I introduced PAGeode first. You can pop into MacroStrat's map. You can go back to General Trimble's mine. You can take our longitude and latitude. We can put it in MacroStrat and hit paste. And a whole lot of nothing happens because it doesn't take longitude and latitude. You also can't directly input addresses. Doesn't really do anything. Occasionally, you can get it to recognize a location. When I wrote the book, it would recognize a nearby Jewish temple. It would not recognize it as of the time of this recording. So what we're going to do is pop back onto Google Maps. We're going to pick a nearby business. So we have a town to put in. We have Exton, PA for good old PC support services. So we will pop back over to MacroStrat and type in Exton, PA. I have had it reject town names as well. So always fiddle with that. This is why there's a learning curve, and this is why I'm recording this video for you guys, so you don't go, I'm doing something wrong. No, it's failure by design. So we will click on Exton, Pennsylvania, and we get a big green blob that eventually turns into something we recognize from PAGeode. What we have to do at this point is go to the upper left-hand corner, and we will shut off Bedrock for the time being. Now we get a map. Still not a lot to go off of unless you're really good with, you're going to have to get good at looking at cross streets and water features to figure out where you are actually trying to get. But for right now, let's turn on satellite because it'll make it a little easier to spot our quarry, or in this case, the quarry. All right, so we knew we are close. So let's pop back over to Google Maps and zoom out a little bit. So we can look for features that'll help us narrow down where we are on MacroStrat. All right, so we know we're between two major roads, kind of dead in the center, and there is a lot of green. Let us zoom out. Those are not our two roads. These are our two roads. All right, that's a little better. So we're going to bounce back over here. We've got our two roads. That's 100 over there. That's 100 here. So here we are. I found us. All right. That is us, right? Hang on. This may be updated satellite imagery, but we're going to figure it out. Maybe, maybe not. Hold on. We're going to bounce back. Yep, that's right. We are correct. We are in the right area. We just need to be right here. All right. So now we know that that is our satellite view. We're going to have to find our locations. I just left click over there, and we can see there's formation data here. It's the Antietam Formation. and we know that we're in the Antietam and Harper's Formation as well. It's listed up here. So, oh, here's what I wanted. The physiography. This is the Piedmont Upland. This is the Antietam Formation that we are confirming is the same thing we saw in PAGeode, all right, over here. So back to MacroStrat. This is the site you can use nationally. You can see the data here. But we can turn on those maps on here as well. We'll have to zoom out as ever to get those to pop up. But yeah, it is another great site with a ton of data, different data over here. As you can see, and as I will always love to point out, there is literature data available. There's all sorts of different books and bulletins and magazine articles over in the right-hand corner under, or on the right-hand side under primary literature. But yeah, this is another great site. This is the site I use more often than not. It exists in a version on your phones known as the RockD app. I believe it's available on iPhone. I know it's available on Android. But that will allow you, wherever you're standing, to see what is directly under your feet. But for the purposes of research, the macrostrat.org website is absolutely best. So yeah, some great stuff there. Probably a little more accurate data than PAGeode, but to compare, we can see that yeah, all of our search areas are within the parameters of the original General Trimble's mine, and that is exactly what we're looking for here. All right, and that is how to check our geologic data for a site chosen through Mindat. So I hope you're holding on at this point. We will be moving from the geologic data from how to use sites that we just went over to, after that, we will be moving on to how to use sites that will give us LiDAR imagery. All right, let's take a quick dive into LiDAR, which is light detection and ranging. It provides a very unobstructed view of the ground in greater detail than you'll get in just terrain view on Google Maps. The first one we're going to dive into is PASDA, which is PASDA. This is the landing page. Just scroll down until you see the PA Imagery Navigator. There's a number of other amazing tools and resources on here you can take the time to dig through. But we're going to, for the sake of this tutorial, start right here. All right, so this is the landing page. We are going to enter the street and zip. That is exactly what it says. So we need to go back over to Google Maps. We know it is Old Valley Hill Road. We will enter that information. Old Valley Hill Road. And then we gotta put your comment in there. And we will go back. And we will put in Exton, Pennsylvania. All right, let's do that. We need the zip code, not the name. It is 19341. 19341. All right. Usually this will work the first time. It did. Looky there. All right. So once again, we need to take a moment to reorient ourselves. We will zoom out a little, and we can already find ourselves right over here. So this is home base. We will click there. Now what we're going to do, and this site is a little, it's pretty easy to use once you get past that entry of the address. We're going to scroll down to the bottom until you see LiDAR Topo. What we will do is switch to statewide LiDAR Hillshade. Now, do you see the difference between this and terrain view? Right. So now we can see in great detail that that water pit has a high wall on it. Not that we're going to be able to get to it, but now we know there's a steep drop there. But now we're going to keep looking for other steep drops. Went a little far out there. This area does not have a ton to work with. Now we know, and we have to keep in mind the borders of our geological formations. I was looking in here. This is a pretty soft decline in here, actually. But I see a hole here. I would definitely be checking that area right there. That is a very deep gouge. Let's see if we can pop back on the map and see if they're onto Google Maps and see if we can spot what that might be. All right, so we're going to stay right here. Let's pop back over to the LiDAR map. All right, we can see the end of the houses is about here. We'll pop back over here. All right, I do see a dark spot here. Now, this is where you can make use of where it's available. Now, it doesn't go to this road. That's the problem, and you can't use it all the way, but sometimes you can grab a nice ground 360 view. But that is an interesting thing, and I would definitely be checking that out to see what that little ditch is right there. Yeah, you're looking for these dark spots. That indicates a sharp drop. I see some stuff up here, but I believe we are out of the range of that geological formation. Now, if we roll over in the direction of our creek, now we can, there's our creek. I can see it there. I almost guarantee that's it. Hang on. Let's drag back over there. I'm just left clicking and dragging. Let's find our reference point. All right, so we're looking for Conestoga Road, which is listed as Route 401. We are very close. And there's Route 401. So there's our creek. And using the LiDAR, we can see where the darker spots are. There's some dark, real dark here, some dark here, and up here as well. So if I was going to be searching this area, those would be the areas I'd search. And you can go through and you can narrow down in Google Maps more areas of interest, such as this. Now, again, all of these websites take a minute to update once you're mousing around them. So be patient with that. All right, you can go and try to download the actual imagery from this site, from the website, if that's what you want to do. There is, to my knowledge, no easy way to extract the location data off here. So you have to kind of flip from here over to Google Maps and mark on Google Maps additional spots you would want to take a peek at, which we know that there's another one here. So we would click, get our location, click it back in, add a label. We'd call this Hillside Spot 2. Let's just, for sanity's sake, keep the nomenclature the same and save that there as a secondary research location. Oh, we did it again. Let's go back. We'll click onto there and save this to the Chester County list. Repetition is key here to making sure you have all that data saved. All right, that is the basic understanding of PASDA. It doesn't go into much more detail than that, but again, a very powerful local tool. Let's dive into the USGS National Map. All right, now this is far and away going to be the most in-depth section of this entire video. This is the USGS National Map Viewer. This map is loaded with amazing data, which I'm basically only going to skim over. But I'm going to show you a couple other tools in here that can come in super handy. All right, let's get to it's the USGS.gov /tools/national-map-viewer. Of course, I'll put the link down in the description. Let's click on Launch the National Map Viewer. The good news is you can take your longitude and latitude, plunk it right in the search function, and it will take you right where you want to be. This is one of the bigger advantages of just going straight to the USGS map. You will see that while we are at the address, you cannot see a thing. So what we have to do then is zoom out. So that will scroll back towards you, and now we can see a regular maps view. We can see our you can see in terrain view alone on here, there's a nice elevation markers, and you can see where our location is. So to start with, we will click up here. This is the base map layers. There's a couple in here. I actually find in this one, staying on the light gray map, this one, sorry, the national map, this one, the bottom left-hand side one, will do most of what I needed to. But you are welcome to go through and dig through all of those maps, and they each offer their own very unique base layer. But this is the layer you're going to have underneath, so it's not as critical right now to do anything more than this right here. I go into more detail on almost everything in the book, but for right now, this is a great starting point. Now we're going to click over to the layers list. All right, there's a lot in here, but what we're going to go down to is the bottom. We want to be looking for the hillside stretched. You can see it is towards the bottom. This will take a moment to load. Give it a second. Now there it goes. You can see that this gives you even better views than the PASDA website, the PASDA website. This is a really, really incredible site. The detail on some of these maps is just incredible. Let me see here. Another one I like to use in here is the multi-directional hillshade. You should go through and each one of these is a slight variation on the other. And this one, the slope map, is this the bright orange one? I can never remember till I get to it. Yes. All right. This one could not make it any clearer where your slopes are, where your deep ditches are. We can see a lot of quarry activity in this area if we go off to the one side. But we know that at this point, we can very easily bounce back into Google Maps. Let's say we want to check the area where we put the, what do we call it? The stream. So we'll go back in. We'll get to the Chester County list. We'll go into Chester County. I believe this was our General Trimble's Creek. So we can take the longitude and latitude right out of there, copy that, move back to the national map, enter that, and it will move us right back. So we can see that in that creek, there is some elevation change, but nothing massive. But again, worth checking. But these are the differences you're looking for. All right, we're going to go back to hillside stretched, as I do like that one the best. Now again, we were talking about sometimes you got to let these things settle back to where they want. We're going to pick this area. This was the area I was talking about doing that searching on, because you can see there's an elevation change there, and you'd want to research that. Now, amongst the tools, you've got a lot of measurement tools in here. So we're going to dive into some of the measurement tools. So if we click onto the measurement icon up here at the upper right, and then we click, give me a second. Oh, right. We need to extract longitude and latitude information from this map. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the ruler icon, and we'll click on the third icon, which is the measurement tool for longitude and latitude. So let's confirm. And now that we just clicked on that over here, we can click anywhere on the map, and it will give us the longitude and latitude data right down here. All right, so that is how it's much easier than the PASDA website where you can't do that. So being able to actually click on here, extract that data, and be able to move it out of here back into something like Google Maps, or to put it back in your documentation, is a boon. It's a very helpful thing. So let's go up here. Let's get back to regular search. We can dump that data right back in, and it will drop us right where that elevation, or close to where that elevation changed. You can see that sometimes there is aberrations in distances. So always double check that, because I know it's a little closer to down here. All right, let us dive into some more tools here on the USGS National Map. Another excellent tool in measurements is the area measurement tool. So we know that we want to look in the stream, on the hill, and we wonder, with the mine being about there, how big of an area are we talking about searching here? So let's click here. We will left click there. Of course, this isn't working like it's supposed to, as is the way things go. So let's try clicking on there again. There we go. All right, so we know that our stream is over here. And we'll drag it down a little ways below that. We'll bring it back down below the bottom of our hill. We will double click, left double click to close off. Thinking we've got about a half of a square mile of distance in that area. Now, if we'd like a more path-based bit of information, we can clear this and click to the middle option, which is distance. So how far is it from the top of our hill to the bottom of the hill to the original mine location over to the creek? Got about a 2-mile walk right there. Another one I like is the spot elevation tool. We'll go over here to the mountain with the XY, click on there and click activate. Now we will pick 2 locations. We will say the top of this hill, and that gives us our elevation of 613 feet. And then we can click down here at the bottom of the hill, and it'll give us our secondary measurement. You can do this as many times as you'd like. And then what you need to do is just subtract your higher elevation from your lower, and you'll know exactly how much of an elevation change you have. You can also use this in much smaller detail. Let's say right here at this creek, we can click up top. Let's clear our, let's deactivate and reactivate so we have a fresh slate here. So we want to know how big this drop is. So what we can do is click up here on the flat side, and then we can zoom in and then click in the creek. And we can see it's only shown about a 5-foot difference. Now that's going to be give or take a little bit, but that's pretty detailed information for not trying to be there, for not actually being on site. So again, this is all great. All these tools that are given to you in this book and online, these are your tools to use before you get on site. You can use all of this data to help formulate your plan of attack and your plan of exploration when you get on site. I strongly encourage you to dive further into all the tools that are available to you on the USGS website. There are many more, as you can see, up in the toolbar, and depending on how you want to search for information, they may be of service to you as well. this actually concludes the portion of the dive into each of these sites. I hope that this has given you a stepping stone to using these sites better. Next, we're going to take a moment to go through a little information on how to start researching who owns what property. This is going to change drastically from location to location, where you are in the country and how these records are held. So yeah, let's dive into that. All right, when you're trying to determine your property ownership, your first step will be hopping on Google and doing your county or whatever your state refers to counties as, plus your state name and property records. So for Chester County, Pennsylvania, we have the Chesco Views website. So we need to grab an address to make this work. You'll click on the search function up here. It'll open up this box. Let's go back over to Google Maps. 64 Granville Way, Exton, PA. All right. No, wait, maybe that was why. It was still had all that data up there. Let's find out. That's fun. It actually won't let me get rid of all that information. That's super helpful. Again, some of these websites are honestly just dreadful to deal with, but it is a free service, so you really can't. Let's let this load. But we do see that this is the property we're looking for. It is, I guess, parcel 42-3-65, and we now know that this is owned by the Transcontinental Gas Company, which is why it is blocked off. But we can go over to that spot we saw and find out who owns that bit of property. Again, these websites are just painfully slow. You have to be patient and wait for the data to load. This land may be unincorporated, which is why it's not popping up immediately. I don't know who owns it then, so that may leave you open to just exploring that, because this little piece of the property definitely has an owner. Let's see. There's a mailing address, so we've got that now. Let's see what other information we can extract. It's owned by Soledad Gardens, LLC. So that's helpful to know. You should make note of that in your document. Let's pull that data. That's your mailing address. I don't see any phone number listed in here. So we'll take this bit of information, copy it, put it in our document under the hillside, because I still think that is going to be our best option. I always forget. It's a Control-Shift-V, no formatting. So now we've got that documented, the owner. Another site that can be used to look up this information if you don't have it locally is something called Regrid. There is a free starter account you can set up, and that can be helpful as well. Let's dive into that for a minute. All right, so for regrid.org, I believe we can just plop an address in here. We're going to give that a quick shot. We'll just go back into our Google Doc, and this is why it's so great to have all this. We know that is 925 Old Valley Road in Exton, PA. So we'll throw that information up here. It already found it. And confirms that it is owned by Soledad Gardens. And they want you to pay for any additional information. There's a bunch of other kind of useless information in there, at least for our purposes. So what we're going to do now, because again, you can use either, Regrid's great if your county doesn't have one, and that's a good option there. To get owner information, all you're going to do in this case is, we know it's, what is it, Soledad Gardens LLC in Exton, PA. Enter. All right, so we'll keep digging around. Let me go make sure we've spelled this correctly. I don't believe I did. Maybe I didn't. Let's copy and paste it just to be sure. And we'll hop back over to Google. For their phone number. This one's proving to be a little hard to find. So at this point, if you can't find a phone number, and it's going to be the case sometimes, what you need to do is mail a letter stating what you're trying to ask, same thing you'd ask them on the phone. Hey, could I come take a look around your property? I'll refill any holes, and assurances like that. So yeah, we don't have an immediate phone number there. So again, this is where a little footwork, or maybe in this case not footwork, finger work is required. You could probably call the borough of the town and maybe be able to extract the information you need there. Another option to check that is often very up to date but costs a couple bucks a year is the OnX Hunting app, which is an app designed for folks looking for hunting permission, but you'll get all the same information. But it is a lot more frequently updated than the free resources available online. So that is your steps for researching address, finding out ownership names, and then if a phone number is available, it will be pretty easily found through a Google search. Do not pay to get phone numbers out of any of these sites. If the numbers exist, they usually already exist in a public form. So don't go paying for any sketchy looking website information, except for OnX. OnX is a vetted and trusted resource. All right, folks, this has been a whirlwind tour through all these websites. I strongly encourage you to take the time to go through the book. The book is loaded with information in more detail even than I gave here in the video. This is meant to get you started. The only way you're going to find new sites is by spending time out in the field, trying and failing and digging and going back and refining your search. You should always keep good notes on what you've been doing. Keep those Google Docs up to date. Keep your Google Maps points up to date as well. And just spend that time outdoors, looking and spending time, surveying the area where you're starting your search. And talk to the community as well. There are wizened elders out there who have possibly looked where you've looked or looking already. But yeah, I hope digital rock hounding has been a benefit to you. Again, I defer back to the book. There's a lot of detail in there and little hints and tricks. A little more humor than we could put in a pretty cut and dry video. But for the visual learners, I hope the video helped as well. All right, hounds. Let me know in the comments whether you found this helpful. Let me know if you've got questions. In the book is listed all the contact information, all my socials, email addresses, all the pertinent links. This is going to be a living document, the book. And who knows, in a year, I might update the video as well. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope this was a boon for you. And yeah, take care. Stay safe out there. Happy hounding. Come visit us at Pennsylvania's Rockhound Haven. I've got a ton of helpful information on there. The library, as you saw, guides to local spots, and countless other helpful bits of information. Thanks, and talk again real soon.